Welcome to the Aura Reading Podcast, where I do aura readings and you get the guidance and insights. If you've discovered this episode, then the messages it contains are meant for you, whether this reading was done on your aura or not. And if you'd like to get an aura reading featured on my podcast, make sure to register for my waitlist by filling out the form using the link below, or if I am currently open for readings, you will find that below too. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram for juicy content and all things aura at Aura Reading Podcast. Today we have Shweta, and she is our special guest that will allow me to channel information from her higher power and lots of juicy messages for everybody listening. So before we started this podcast, we had a little bit of a conversation, and the main topics you decided to work through on today's reading are grief around losing your father recently, and I'm very sorry for that, and how that might be connected towards you losing the excitement for life. There's a bit of motivation lacking, correct? So what we're doing here today is connecting to your higher self guidance. I'm going to be seeing some colors, and within the colors there are images, and they will be granting us metaphors and messages to decode what's happening here. When I see your higher self, I automatically see its representation is the sun. It's like the sun, okay? And what I see is some lines that represent air, almost like air is coming in and creating vortexes and moving the energy around it and inside your higher self. The sensation that I have is that this is telling me there's a bit of energetic interference with you, with your energy, meaning there is influence from others on your energy. Now, this is something that normally happens, okay? We are not, it's not like my energy stops here, yours starts there, right? We're all connected, we're all exchanging, that's just how it is. But sometimes this can get a little bit off balance, okay? And this is one of the reasons why sometimes we need energy cleanses. It is to let go of all of these things that come from other people. And sometimes they don't even come exactly from people. They fall a little bit under the dense energy categories, which might include beings from other dimensions. But I do feel you're experiencing a bit of disconnection from yourself and a bit of confusion within yourself because of this. So I would definitely suggest you to get an energy cleanse, a dense energy cleanse. In any case, I sense that the reason why you've lost a bit of this enthusiasm for life, it's because you got disconnected from yourself a little bit in the process of grieving, okay? So ideally, we would always be in touch with ourselves and keep connecting and asking ourselves, how are you doing today? Let's be best friends and let's chat. And what are you going through? And tell me what's wrong and tell me what you liked about your day. Let's get to know each other better, right? But when we are grieving, the whole focus is on the emotional pain that we're going through. And we stop doing a little bit of this work. We stop connecting to ourselves. And when the focus is taken out of connecting to ourselves, we start to get, we lose a little bit touch with interacting. The word interacting as a key word, we lose touch with interacting with ourselves. We lose touch with interacting with our intuition, with the people around us, with the things that we like, with the things that we don't like. And we kind of isolate ourselves in a bubble, okay? So what I really feel that you need to do in order to start bringing more of that enthusiasm to your life is dedicate some time, whether that's in meditation or, just 5 minutes before you're going to sleep when you're already lying in bed. Check in with yourself, have a conversation with yourself, not just around the emotional pain that you might be feeling, the grief, but also around all the other things that you lived through, anything that you remember throughout your day, anything that you might need to prepare for the next day. Is this in alignment with me? Do I really feel like I want to do this? I'm not sure. Okay, maybe I'm going to try it and see how I feel afterwards, and then I'm going to check in with myself on how that went. Or maybe it's on my list, but I don't really feel like doing it. Then can I do it in another day, or can I swap that with something else? Okay, it's the continuous interaction with yourself and with your intuition that allows you to connect to this inner fire, inner flame. Another thing that's popping up here is your excitement for life, your inner flame is very connected to unconditional love. Okay, and unconditional love comes from the heart. So when we are grieving, the heart tends to close down a little bit. Okay, and that can make you lose touch with that unconditional love in general. Now, of course, you got to go through the grieving process, and you're going to have to deal with all these emotions that come up, usually in cycles, right? They come up, we deal with them, they tune down, then they come up again. But that means the heart is shielding itself a little bit in order to avoid big waves of emotions. It's trying to do it in slower steps. Okay. Now, it's almost as if, and I understand this is no judgment or anything, I've been there. Dealing with the emotion as it comes instead of trying to reduce it to avoid the overwhelm, it works faster. Okay, so if the emotion comes in all at once and it becomes a little overwhelming, if you just deal with all of that in the moment, it will go away faster. And you are able to process all the emotions that you have faster within the process. Okay, so the overall time frame that you need for processing all the emotion will be shorter. Okay, and I know this is difficult, so this is just a suggestion, of course, but if you just sit down with yourself, open your heart, allow yourself to allow all of these emotions to flow in and just deal with them within 5, 10, 15 minutes, 1 hour. Okay, you're going to feel more at ease for a longer period of time before they come in, or they will come in more waves, but you deal with them in a shorter time frame and you're able to start rebuilding and restructuring your life faster. Okay, now this unconditional love that you are feeling here and that is being a little bit blocked, the closing down of the heart is a little bit related with an emotional wound. Okay. When we feel we lose something that's so important to us, our human tendency is to try and avoid that from happening again. And so on autopilot, we start shielding ourselves from feeling that much love again as an attempt to avoid getting as much hurt again. And I feel for this, all you got to do is take a deep breath and keep reminding yourself, I allow myself to feel all the unconditional love that's available to me. Okay. That will bring about this excitement once again. At the end of the day, we are all made of unconditional love. We came from love. We are built from unconditional love. And when we disconnect from unconditional love, we disconnect from who we really are. And when we're not connected with who we really are, we don't feel motivated. We don't feel excited. We feel like we're living a reality that's not for us. Okay. Now, you did mention that you're getting back to work and you're not feeling as excited for all of this. And here I want to suggest you something. When we go through such an intense period of transformation, okay, and grief, it is a transformation process. You're transforming your emotions. Every transformation process, it creates massive changes within. And things that were in alignment with you before may no longer be in alignment with you right now. Yeah. So after you do all the things that I just mentioned over here, if you still don't feel as excited about your career path, sit down with yourself and ask, what do I feel excited about? Okay. But first you got to do that part, because all of these emotions that are still lingering there, they kind of cloud the next step of the journey, which is going into a stage of expanding your life. Okay. You're still going through this internal foundation, through the grieving process of, okay, I need to sort this out first so that I'm able to interact and engage in life. Okay. So if you just start trying to push, get your job, go back to the routine, go back to everything that it was before, you're going to feel major resistance. It's going to drain you a lot. Now, I'm not saying don't do it. I'm saying do the two things at the same time, at least. Okay? Sit down with your emotions and start processing them deeper and deeper and deeper as they come, taking deep breaths and allowing it to come in, and allowing unconditional love, and allowing yourself to feel everything 1,000%. And then if you still don't feel as excited about your career and your job, sit down and make a list of the things that do excite you. Okay. And look, and then compare, are these things in my current career or not?
Yeah,
or could I potentially include them somehow? Okay. This deep transformation process that you're going through, because right now everything is clouded by emotion, it's very likely that you will only see it a year or two down the line when you look back, when you compare who you are being in that moment towards who you used to be. Okay, then you will see how far you've come. But there are certain stages in life, like this one, that it's easier to just focus on the work rather than understanding where it's leading you. Okay. And so I feel you are in fact correct, because you're tuning into your intuition when you say, I have all these things going on, but I feel deep down I haven't worked through all of my grief. And you're correct when you say that. And you need to give yourself permission to work through it, like you're already doing. Now, when you're shielding the heart a little bit, in order to avoid these big emotional waves that might come, so that you're able to deal with them in smaller doses, this does two things. First of them is it teaches you how not to be in a surrender state. Okay. Surrendering means I am open. I will allow everything to happen as it's supposed to be. I am at the service of a higher power, and I will do whatever my higher power wants me to do or wants me to go through, right? That surrender state, it's what takes you out of resisting and pushing, and it places you in the flow of life and the flow of the energy. And it makes everything so much easier, because you don't have to use as much energy to swim against the tide or anything like that. Life just flows better. And this is something you need to do as well. But this is something that happens simultaneously as you're saying, okay, I'm opening the heart and I'm allowing this to happen. Okay, it's happening at the same time. But just for your awareness, this is something that it is one of the real reasons why you're going through something. You're going through this experience, is trying to show you how to surrender and open up to unconditional love. Even if you feel that that love and that emotion might be too much, it is that surrender state that transforms your life even more and transforms your emotions even more. Blocking out a little bit here of the unconditional love, it's almost as if you're trying to tame yourself a little. Because as human beings, we're very, very powerful, but we are powerful through the love. Not through, I can accomplish and I can make it and all this willpower. It's not just that makes us powerful. Actually, our willpower takes a lot of energy for action, but emotion, love, unconditional love doesn't require that much energy, and it transforms things from a higher vibration, which means it has a bigger ripple effect. So you're also being invited into looking at everything that's going on in your life and send it some unconditional love and see how that works. Notice how things change. Okay. Don't forget to always, when you're doing these small exercises, don't forget to do it and then check back in to see what happened. Okay. Any slightest change can be an impact from what you've just done. So don't dismiss the little things. Okay. Maybe one of your kids will come over and say, I love you. Or maybe you get a friendly text message from a friend saying, how are you? Okay. But all of these things are an expression of unconditional love. Somebody might bring you a glass of water, and that's still an expression of unconditional love, right? So we got to watch out for these little things as we do the exercises so that we stay motivated to keep going. I was picking up on something else here around shutting down the heart. It's like I see you with, it's like you're inside of a bubble made of metal, and then there's rubies and diamonds decorating this shell, almost like it's saying, I'm protecting something beautiful, but I'm putting these gems on the outside so that I don't forget how beautiful it is. Okay, so this is just another representation of you trying to shield yourself and protect yourself. And the one thing you got to do is open up, surrender your heart, and let all of it come in, because you're blocking a little bit the flow of life in your direction. Sometimes, well, not sometimes, I would say pretty much always, we resist diving into emotions that are unpleasant out of the fear of depression, out of the fear of not being able to get out of depression. And when we find ourselves in a state like that, our tendency is to do everything we can to get out. Do everything you can to get out. And as much as that is important, what we resist tends to persist. Okay. Sometimes it's better just for a little moment to allow yourself to be in that space and do the work that is needed emotionally, which is what we've been talking about, and then start moving to get ourselves out of that space. Life will keep bringing the same lesson or the same reminder over and over and over again until we get it, until we do the work. So if we find ourselves in a sad state or a depressed state, we are there for a reason. And instead of overlooking the reason, we got to work with it. Because if we work with it, then there's no point that life has to keep us there anymore. We've done the work, we graduate, nothing stays there forever. So when we do the work, life says, okay, check. You've graduated, you've done the exam, all good, you're able to move forward with less effort and more ease. And so I feel you need to stop listening to what people are telling you about this state of sadness and grieving. And you just need to allow yourself to be in it for a little bit while you do the emotional work. Okay? So you're allowed to be sad. You're allowed to take as much time as you need to process this. There's no time frame that says, grief only takes a month or a year or 2 years. It's not like that. It can be a lifetime process, okay? But if you allow yourself to just be there and do the work that you need to do, if you transform all the emotions creating tension inside of you, you return to your natural state of unconditional love and excitement for life without you having to figure out how to do it. What's the next step? I need to get myself out. I need to interact with people. I need to stop doing this. I need to do more of that. Okay, that just creates so much pressure, and it takes your focus completely away from what you're supposed to be doing. And therefore, you're kept in the same place. Okay, so we usually try to avoid being in the bottom of the well. Okay, but when we let ourselves be there for a day or two, or maybe a week max, and while doing the work, then we're able to climb out of there so much better, faster, and easier. And I feel this is what you need a little bit, okay? It's almost as if collectively where you stand, it's believed that you shouldn't tune too much into emotion, or too much emotion is very unpleasant, or you've had enough time to do that. No, it's enough. No, you just got to move on and stop focusing so much on your emotions because you got things to do. There's a certain way that you're supposed to be. Okay. And I feel people are giving you an opinion from that angle, from that point of view, but nobody knows better what you need than yourself. Okay. And you got to trust that, because that inner voice was placed there for a reason, and you got to listen to it. Okay. Now, the best advice I can give anybody listening here today is when we stop resisting and for a moment We just tune in and listen. What are we supposed to be doing? What are we supposed to learn from this? We come out so much stronger on the other side. And I feel that's exactly what you need to do, because you're going to come out so strong after those few days or after that week that you just give yourself the time to do that work. It's almost like I see you taking a deep breath, as in, oh, what a huge relief. This feels so much better. Now I can actually focus on something. Now I can actually look around and not have all these thoughts and all these emotions popping up randomly in me, trying to tune them down so that I can focus on something. Okay. You just naturally focus on the things that are happening around you. And no matter what your subconscious is telling you, right? You got to be there for others. You have family. You got to take care of your family. You can't just be in your inner healing process, and you got to go to work and you got to take action on work. No matter what your subconscious is telling you, or no matter what others are telling you around this space, if you are not okay, you can't be there for others and you can't do what you're supposed to do. So as much as there's pressure, external pressure in our lives, always to keep following through with the plan or be in a certain way, we need to know when it's time to take a little bit extra of that time to work on ourselves. And you still need it. So put on your calendar every day to have time for meditation or time to talk with yourself, or to even sit down and connect with that feeling, all that pain that you have, and just let it out. Okay, whether that's through crying, sometimes we need to scream, sometimes we need to pray, sometimes we need to just listen, whatever you resonate with, but take that time to do that on a regular basis, not just here and there. Okay, on a regular basis, because we're talking about emotions that are very intense, they're very deep. We're talking about a parent, so that comes back to what feels like our foundation in life, our structure, our baseline, our support system. And then there's that sense of, I lost part of my support system. Okay, and that feels very ungrounding, and you need to learn once again, what is a foundation, what feels safe to you without him present right now. But you're only going to be able to do that as you process through your emotion. Okay, and that's okay, and that's fine. You've mentioned something else around a pattern of seeking validation. Yeah. Seeking validation is very human of us. We are social beings and we like to be accepted into our tribe, into our family and friends. Because if we're not accepted by them, then we're going to be alone, and that's not okay. We like to be surrounded by the people we love, and we seek that human connection of being understood by others, right? So we seek validation. Now, one important thing we need to keep in mind is what are we seeking validation for? Are we seeking validation to feel that people love us, or are we seeking validation because we don't have enough self-trust on the decision we just made? Okay. Sometimes it shows up as one way, sometimes it shows up as the other way, but at the end, the real reason behind this is we feel there is a good and there's a bad, there's a right and there's a wrong. Am I being good or am I being bad? Am I making the right choice or am I making the wrong choice? And that comes back to duality, good and bad, right and wrong. Now, what if I told you there's no right and wrong? There is only what you want to experience. Now, in the context of what you want to experience, let's just say you want to experience having a coffee. If you decide to go and drink tea, then you're wrong, because you're going in the opposite direction of what you want. You're drinking a tea instead of a coffee, right? But if you decide to take a step and grab some coffee, then you are doing the right thing for you, because you're going the direction of what you want for yourself. What's the best direction to have coffee? Is it that you have a coffee machine at home or you go to a coffee shop? So what I'm trying to tell you is that there's many pathways that lead to the same outcome, and none of them is right or wrong. It's only which one would you like to experience? The thing is, when we ask for too much validation or too much opinions, what happens is we all lived through different circumstances while growing up. Our parents taught us all different things. We all took different lessons from life's experiences that we went through. And so we have a certain filter in our glasses. The way that we see life, we see through the filter of our experiences and the things we've learned. And the lessons we took, the things we learned, they were correct for us, but they're not correct for the other person. So when we ask for opinions, they are giving their opinions based on what they were built for and not what we are built for. So somebody can tell you, no, this is not good for you. But what they're really saying is, this is not good for me. It doesn't mean it's not good for you. And that's why you need to check in with your intuition, with your inner communication that says, what do you like? How do you want to experience this? And I'm not saying this just for the big things. I use the tea and coffee example all the time because it is a basic thing, but it's a basic thing we need to connect with. Our intuition is not just telling us the big stuff, it's telling us all the little details of our life, of our everyday actions. Do I want to eat a soup or a salad? Do I want to drink water or tea or juice? What do I want? It is this connection with yourself that builds up the voice of intuition and makes it louder. When it makes it louder, you can follow it better. And when you follow it better, and on the little things, you start implementing and you start saying, oh yeah, this felt really good. This was exactly what I heard within, and it created exactly the outcome I wanted. You build trust. When you build this trust in your inner voice, then do you really need to keep asking externally? There's nothing wrong with getting opinions. They might get you different inspiration and ideas, but ultimately you got to check in. You got to check in with your own. Okay. And I know it's tough because we live in a world that is just prone to judgment. And my personal trick that I can share with you is when somebody gets really, really triggered and doesn't really accept what we're doing, we are causing a paradigm shift inside of that person. It's being really difficult for them to handle because we are showing them a different way of doing things. They have never thought about it. And the very first human reaction to something new is, no, that is not safe. Get it away from me. You can't do that. You can't do that. You're doing it wrong. That's not how it's supposed to be. That's just because it's our subconscious fear that is trying to protect us from change. Okay. So whenever we do something or we want to do something or we make a decision, others tend to judge a lot and not agree with. It means we are triggering them into an inner transformation. If it's not you, it's going to be somebody else. Okay. Somebody will come along and do this for them because they need it. Give them a little love and compassion, but give it to yourself as well. And remind yourself that you are doing this for you. Because, and I feel this is a beautiful message from your higher self. It's a message that serves for everybody. We are taught how to be and how to do so many things in life, right? But we're all different. And we can't forget that we are different. Because if we forget we are different, we are not bringing the aspect of us to the world that the world needs. Okay, we all carry an essence that is very important to this world. And if we don't allow that essence that is different to shine and come through, we are not allowing the rest of the world to experience that essence, which is very important. Bottom line is we got to allow ourselves to be different. And it is in those differences that we together grow and lift each other up and show each other the lessons that we need to know or the things we need to remember. And it can be very difficult at times, but remember that you are serving the world by doing this. Remember, whenever we trigger somebody, at the end of the day, they want to remember that thing. They want that lesson so that they can grow and evolve. And we are the ones showing it to them. So whenever somebody starts saying, oh, this is good enough, now you need to move on, now you need to do this, and you got to focus on all these other things, just send them some love. Send yourself some love. Check in with yourself. What do I need to do? What do I feel like I need to do? Trust your feeling and go with that. So I'm just going to give you a really quick cleanse over here to help out with these energetic interferences, and I'm going to call in Archangel Michael. By the way, guys, Archangel Michael is a frequency that helps with energy shielding and energy clearing. Okay, you can call on him to clear spaces, your homes, okay, so that you can sleep better, so that the environment is clearer. But you can call on Archangel Michael to clear your energy, to protect your energy in your home and clear it and all of these things. And every time you feel that you have too many ideas in your mind, like you're hearing too many different voices that are opinions of different people, you can also call Archangel Michael to clear that energy away. And right now I'm calling in on him to clear all these energetic interferences that I've seen here at the beginning of the reading. And I'm going to thank Archangel Michael for doing this for us. So these energetic interferences, they create changes in your aura. They put in energy that's not supposed to be there, and they can change a little bit the structure of it. But now we cut it off. Okay, we asked Archangel Michael to come here and cut it off. So this is no longer going to be interfering with you. You're going to feel lighter from this as well. Okay, my dear, thank you so much. It was a pleasure to have you here. Thank you for letting me bring forward all this information from your higher self. And I look forward to chatting with you soon.